The son that day was mad. Not regular shine your eyes son no. This one was like it had personal beef with Lagos. But Ola didn't mind. She stepped out of her Uber, heels sharp, perfume loud and confidence louder. Her maroon blazer hugged her waist like designer temptation. The receptionist at Tobacco Group had barely called her name before three people turned to look. Ola smiled small. "Good afternoon. I'm here for the management interview." Her voice was calm, smooth, the type that says, "I've been abroad and I did not come back empty." The receptionist nodded respectfully and said, "Ma, please wait at the lounge. Someone will attend to you shortly." As she turned to adjust her bag, her eyes caught movement at the gate. A uniform, a face. Her smile froze. "No way, it can't be." She squinted. "Yes, I know that jawline. Is that Chidi wearing a security uniform? Her ex. Her I'll pay your school fees king. Her first love turned Megad." She blinked twice. The man opened the company gate for a delivery van, then turned and saw her. Their eyes locked. There was silence. Then Ola burst out laughing. Like really laughing. The kind of laugh that turns heads. "Ah, God! It's not true. So this is where you ended up, eh? Chidi International. Eh, Megad?" She clutched her handbag tight, trying to catch her breath. A junior staff walking past paused to watch. Chidi just stood there, expression blank. Ola kept going. "Chidi Mokuku. So after all your big dreams, you are now opening gate for people." The staff shifted uncomfortably. Ola pulled out her phone. No, I have to snap this one. No. The girls won't believe me, especially if Fetiwe, that one that will always advocate for Chidi. She took a selfie with him in the background, smiled, and posted it. The caption read, "When your ex said he had a vision but didn't say it was night shift vision. Glow up, thank God." Chidi still said nothing. He just pressed the button and the gate slid closed behind the delivery van. But in his eyes, there was something quiet, almost like a pity. That thing pained Ola more than if he had answered her. Ola started picturing herself behind the glass desk. Management. It wasn't just a job. It was the golden ticket, the one she had been looking for all the time. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Life after Sweden hadn't exactly gone as planned. She returned home with a master's degree and big dreams, expecting job offers to flood her inbox. Instead, she found herself in a small sales role, earning just 100,000 a month, barely enough to fund her daily transport, let alone her ambitions. So when the interview invitation from Obako Oil and Gas came in, she nearly screamed. This wasn't just any company. They were a household name in Lagos, a corporate giant. From her research, she's heard whisper that the management salary was well over ₦1 million monthly. She had ironed her best blazer 3 times, won her most confident perfume, and now she sat in the reception, hands clasped in her lap, silently praying. It had been over an hour, then the PA returned. The same one with the crisp tie and the permanent "please forgive us" smile. "Ma, thank you so much for your patience," he said gently. Ola smiled back, graceful. "The MD is unfortunately tied up in a last-minute board meeting, but he asked me to congratulate you personally. You have been hired." Ola gasped. "I've been hired?" "Yes, ma. Your starting salary is 1.2 million monthly, and you get full benefits, car allowance, wardrobe allowance, and the relocation package." Jesus, is this real? "You resume next week after signing. HR will be in touch by Monday." Her hands shook. She almost lost her composure, and then she let a shaky smile. "Thank you so much. Please tell the MD that he's just changed the life." The man smiled and gave her a slight bow. "He knows, ma. He knows." Ola stepped outside the reception like someone who had just won a Grammy. She didn't walk. She floated. Chidi was still by the kiosk, still in uniform, still playing the role. She looked at him, smirked, and turned to the receptionist like she couldn't hold it anymore. "I am the new manager here. Please help me pass this information to that gate man," she said, pointing at Chidi. The receptionist blinked, confused. Ola laughed. The full belly kind. "He used to tell me he would change my life. Look at me now and look at him." She strutted past him on her way out, stopped, turned, and now said, So, security officer Chidi, do I still look like someone who should have married you? Chidi looked at him but didn't utter a word. She scoffed. Exactly. She walked to the gate herself and buzzed the remote. It opened slowly, like even the metal was dragging shame behind it. As she left, Chidi simply looked up at the CCTV camera above the gate, and then he quietly walked back to his private office upstairs, took off the security uniform, washed his hands and sat at his desk. After a few minutes, he opened his drawer and pulled out an old photo of him and Ola from their village days. They were both young at the time. Ola's voice used to be softer then. She used to call him Chi baby, the only person who did. By then, he wasn't anything grand, not by the world standards, but in Umelele Junction, everyone knew Chidi. He ran a thriving provision store, the kind he inherited from his late father. People came from 3 villages away just to buy from him. His shop wasn't big, but it was always very full. Loaves of bread, sardines, geisha, Milo, sugar, and that golden packet of cabin that made children command respect in school. But beyond all of that, what mattered most to Chidi then was Ola. She was the first girl he ever opened up to. The first he ever told, "I'm scared of failing." And she had looked him in the eye and said, "You won't fail, I'll make sure of it." He believed her with all his heart. That was why he promised to sponsor her education no matter what. "I'll see you through university," he had said. And he did. Ola's best friend, Ifechi, used to tease her. "Ola, you don't hit jackpot though. This your man na full package." Ola's parents had died in a motor accident when she was just 15. Left with nothing but memories, she was moved to live with her paternal grandmother, Mama Eguatu, an old sickly woman with swollen legs and blurry eyesight. They stayed in a one-room zinc house at the edge of Umelele. No bed, just raffia mats and the kind of silence that only poverty understands. To survive, Ola hawked granuts from morning till dusk under the hot sun and the threat of rude drivers. She roamed the street with a rusty tray balanced on her head, shouting, "Granite! Fresh granite! 1 cup 20 naira!" That was how Chidi first noticed her, not as the girl selling granuts, but as the girl who never missed evening mass, even after trekking for hours and still smelling of roasted granuts. One day, he stopped her outside the church gate. "You can read, right?" he asked. She nodded shyly. "Good. If you ever want to write jam, tell me, I'll pay for you." At first, she thought he was joking. Who offers a stranger such kindness? But weeks later, he showed up at their house with a jam form, a biro and a nylon bag containing chin-chin and malt. "Feel it," he said. When the results came out, Ola had passed. It was Chidi who jumped and shouted as if he had written the exam himself. He ran around the compound, showing the slip to neighbors like a proud father. When the admission letter arrived months later, it was Chidi who ironed her clothes, gave her transport fare, bought her provisions, and followed her to the bus park. He paid her acceptance fee, bought her mattress, gave her pocket money, sold half of his shop goods to settle her hotel fees. That semester, he didn't buy any new stock. Still, he never complained, not once. And Ola was grateful, genuinely grateful. She would call him after lectures just to say thank you. Sometimes she would cry, sometimes she would pray. And each time, he would say the same thing. "This school now, our project. It's me and you that will graduate together." During holidays, she returned home like royalty, not because she acted proud, but because Chidi treated her like someone who was building a future bigger than their circumstances. By the 3rd year in university, Chidi proposed. She said yes, excited, glowing. They had a small wedding full of laughter and borrowed dreams. Chidi was more than a husband. He was her backbone. Even though he didn't go beyond primary school, he would sit beside Ola every evening when she returned from campus, encouraging her to study. He helped her revise like it was his own exam. "You're a success already," he would whisper, rubbing her back. "I go pay your school fees to any length where education fit carry you." During her exam period, he acted like her personal tutor, asking her questions, reading summaries, helping her memorize complex topics he himself didn't understand. He loved her loudly, and she loved him too. Life was sweet until it wasn't. In Ola's final year, the tides began to shift. Chidi was duped by someone he trusted, a major supplier. His business crashed. His shop went dry. He started riding Okada just to make ends meet. Still, he tried to raise her final year fees but couldn't meet the deadline. Luckily for Ola, just when things got tight, she won a scholarship a full one. It covered her final year and even offered a funded master's program in Sweden. From that moment, something changed in her. First, she stopped working with him in public. "I don't want to be seen with an Okada rider," she said. They started insulting him in subtle ways. She would come back from school with new phrases like macroeconomic volatility, fiscal deregulation, gendered labor structures. And every time Chidi asked, "Wetin that one mean?" she would say, "Never mind, you won't get it." He started waiting later and later for her to come home from campus, only to see her walk past the shop without even stopping to greet him. One evening, as she prepared noodles in the tiny kitchen, he said quietly, "Ola, you're changing." She paused, then smiled, but not the soft kind. "Change is growth," she replied. Another day, he offered to quiz her before an exam like he always did. She looked up from her laptop and said, "Babe, it's okay. This is a postgraduate level concept. It's not primary school math." He didn't argue, but something broke. "We are not in the same class anymore," she muttered. "Sometimes I regret even marrying you." Chidi thought it was stress or maybe pressure from her new friends. He still held on, hoping love would win. When Ola graduated, he gathered the little he had, saving from Okada runs and borrowed money to plan a small celebration he wanted to honor her. But that night, she walked into the house cold as harmattan. She tossed her wedding ring at him. "I'm done with this marriage," she said flatly. "I thought I loved you, but let's be honest, Chidi, we are not on the same level at all. I'm leaving for Sweden next week and I'm never coming back here." And just like that, Ola walked out of his life. Chidi stood there, ring in hand, heart in pieces. After everything he gave, his money, his time, his dreams, it still wasn't enough. After Ola left, Chidi didn't eat for days. He sat on the veranda of his quiet home in Umele, staring into the distance like someone waiting for a train that would never come. The neighbors gossiped. Some said he must have offended her, others blamed poverty. But inside, Chidi was dying quietly until one afternoon, months later, his uncle from Lagos came to visit. Chief Nkuku, a big man, oil and gas guru, one of those men whose perfume alone could pay school fees. He had heard his story. He pulled Chidi aside and said, "Young man, you've waited a long time crying for love. You were too comfortable. Okay, come, let's go to Lagos. You will learn work and learn some of the business. Let me show you how men rise again." That was the turning point. In Lagos, everything changed. Chidi enrolled in adult education classes at night and shadowed his uncle's company during the day. He started with menial work, recording inventory, carrying files, observing meetings quietly. But he was a sharp guy, curious, focused. Within 2 years, he had learned the ropes of the oil and gas business, not just surface talk. He understood the logistics, the negotiations, the compliance headaches. He asked questions nobody else dared to ask. By year 3, he had opened his own consultancy firm. By year 4, he partnered with a midstream company in Warri. By year 5, Chidi Nwokuku Ubako was no longer just a name, he was a brand. His story became legend in oil circles. The dropout who rose, the boy from Umele who turned heartbreak into horsepower. But he didn't talk much, but his work did. Now back to Ubako Group. His former operations manager, Mr. Lawal, had just been sent to Norway, an oil-producing country, for a 6-month training and partnership deal. They needed a temporary acting manager. The shortlist came in from HR. Chidi flipped through the resumes casually until Ola Chinyere Eze. His hand froze, as if it was impressive. Sweden master's degree, international exposure. He leaned back in his chair. For a few minutes, he just stared at her passport photo. She was smiling in the picture, a different smile, the smile of someone who had moved on. He smiled too, but his smile wasn't revenge. It was curiosity. He called HR, invite her for an interview. Then he called his personal assistant. "Tomorrow I'll be at the gate. Don't announce it. Just let me observe." "Sir, I want to see something." He didn't tell them who she was, didn't explain, just said he wanted to know how it feels like to be at the gate. So the next morning, he wore a borrowed security uniform, stood by the side gate and opened the compound like he had no shares inside it. She arrived, she laughed, she mocked, took a picture. She walked past him like that, and he said nothing. Because sometimes silence is sweeter than clap back. That afternoon, he went upstairs, changed back into his proper suit, and returned to his real office. He had seen what he needed to see, but he hadn't decided yet. He stood by the large glass window of his office, watching the compound from above. Staff moved around, trucks entered, the rhythm of business pulsed steadily. But in his chest, a different kind of rhythm beat. Not anger, not pride, just a slow, steady hum of purpose. Let her come in first, he thought. Let her taste the room, feel the power, sit in the seats she thought she won. He wouldn't shout. That would be too easy. He wanted her to remember. He wanted every file she touched, every hallway she walked through to whisper, "You mocked the man who built this." He wanted her to look around and see herself not as the new manager, but as the ghost of everything she thought she left behind. She must see the gate she mocked and know it belongs to me. She must see the seat she bragged about and realize it was me who gave it to her. He walked slowly back to his desk, sat and opened the drawer. Inside were two items: a framed picture of his old shop in Umele, another picture of their wedding, and a folded printout of her Instagram post. He placed three of them on the table, side by side. He studied them for a moment, then laughed quietly to himself. She doesn't even know I saw it. He closed the drawer gently. Let her come in. Let the real test begin. And with that, he leaned back, eyes on the ceiling, already hearing her voice echo in tomorrow's boardroom. Resumed the following Monday. Fresh wig, new perfume, fake British accent activated. She entered the office like a queen returning to her palace. And from day one, the insults began. She wasn't a bad person, but power had entered her head like Ogogoro. She backed her junior staff, rolled her eyes at senior ones, micromanaged everybody like the job was her personal inheritance. And then there was the security man, the one she called ex-project turned failure. Every time she saw Chidi at the gate, something in her danced with wicked glee. She would call him into her office for the smallest things. "Oh yeah, go and buy me hairnet from the plaza inside Ekati." "Why me?" he would ask gently. "Because I said so. Or do you want me to report you to HR so they'll fire you here?" She would send him to fetch Amala, to clean her shoes, even once to scrub her toilet, despite there being cleaners. "You're a security man, right? Secure my toilet." Her laughter echoed through the hallway. Continued wondering what is going on with MD. But they couldn't say anything. No one wanted to lose their jobs. Besides, she was not even a friendly person. He did the errands quietly, no complaints. But at night, he would go home, remove the uniform and sit in his mansion and wait. Then came the 6th month. Ola, now fully drunk on power, called an emergency meeting with all junior staff. She screamed at them, insulted their families, even slapped one intern who mistakenly printed an outdated spreadsheet. She went on Instagram Live after and ranted about how lazy Nigerian workers are. She mentioned the company name, cursed the HR team, and mocked the entire facility. The video went viral overnight. What she didn't know was Mr. Lawal, the actual manager, was returning the next morning, and she had just set the stage for her final scene. The video spread like wildfire. By morning, everyone in the office had seen it. Even the receptionist at the gate was whispering, "This one don't enter wahala." Unfortunately, it was about the same time Mr. Lawal had just finished his training and was coming back to Nigeria. That morning, Mr. Lawal arrived from Norway with no gifts or smiles, but with fury. He marched into the building with his traveling bags in hand and stormed into Ola's office. "What is wrong with you?" he shouted. Ola stood up confused. Sir, good morning, sir. "Do you know how many people have called since that nonsense you posted yesterday? You went on live and insulted the entire company, HR, staff, even the MD's office. Do you realize what you've done?" Ola stammered. I didn't mention names." "Oh, please. You mentioned enough. The MD is furious, and trust me, if he sets his eyes on you, you won't survive it." Her knees weakened. "I'm trying to manage the situation," Lawal continued. "I've called him, though, to find out if he would be coming to the office, but he has asked that I meet him up at home during the weekend because he will be traveling to the UK later today for a business meeting. You would come with me and apologize to him publicly. Do you understand?" Ola nodded quickly. "Okay, sir, I'll go. I'll do anything to fix this. Meanwhile, make sure you delete that stupid video from your phone." Ola nodded again. Yes, sir, I'll do that. Thank you, sir. That Saturday, Ola wore her classiest gown, hair laid, makeup soft. She even bought a bottle of wine, wrapped it in gold foil. She needed to impress, to apologize, to survive. The moment they arrived at Banana Island Estate, she gasped. This man is rich, rich. See house, Jesus. This Mr. Tobacco's mansion. He's a castle, oh. She started snapping discreet photos. Money na water, she whispered. This one is not just empty. He's a destiny changer. Mr. Lawal turned sharply. Ola, comport yourself. This social media behavior is what got you here in the first place. Sorry, sir, she said, lowering her phone. I'm just impressed. Impression. That will save you now. Oh. Humility might save you. You better start praying. They knocked at the door when they got there. The door creaked open. Ifechi. It was Ifechi. Ola blinked like her brain couldn't process it. Ifechi? Yes, Ifechi replied, calm and cool. Are you married to the MD? Yes, I am. As in, this house is your house? Yes, it is. Ola stood frozen. Ifechi offered her a small smile, then added, my husband was heartbroken years ago. I was there when everything around him collapsed. I stayed to encourage him. Unfortunately, I watched him rise again. It wasn't easy, but we built everything you see here together. Ola's mouth moved, but no sound came out. When you left for Sweden, I called to check on you several times. You told me to stop calling, that we were no longer in the same class. Ola covered her face in shame. Ifechi, please, I'm so sorry. I was proud. I was foolish. Please help me talk to your husband. I don't want to lose this job. I don't want to lose everything. Just then, two children burst in. Twins. Mommy, mommy, look at my drawing. Mommy, Chuka took my biscuits. The driver followed behind, holding school bags. Ola stared, mouth open. Wow, Ifechi, your life is good though. You're so lucky. Married to a rich MD, beautiful kids, a palace for a house, staff everywhere. Wow, God really buttered your bread. Ifechi gave a polite nod. Then they heard footsteps. From the staircase he descended. It was Chidi, dressed in regal native attire, clean, confident, timeless. The PA rushed forward to collect his laptop bag. Mr. Lawal straightened instantly. Sir, good evening, sir. Ola stood like a statue, heart pounding, face draining of all color. She remembered the insults, the errands, the toilet cleaning, the Instagram selfie. She dropped to her knees. Please, please forgive me. I didn't know I was stupid. Please don't sack me. Please, Chichi. Please, Chi baby. Don't you ever call me that. I'm sorry, sir. I won't call you that again. Please, just forgive me. I never knew you were the MD. He looked at her quietly, not just as a man who had risen, but as a man who had once wept over her. Do you know, he began slowly, there were nights I couldn't sleep, thinking about what I did wrong. I kept replaying every conversation, wondering if I didn't love you enough, or maybe loved you too much. I blamed myself for your distance, for your silence, for your betrayal. She wept quietly, head bowed. But now I see clearly. It wasn't me. It was never me. It was how you saw people who weren't shining yet. You respected status, not sacrifice. He turned slightly to Mr. Lawal. Let her drop her resignation before Monday. Take away everything, the house, the official car, and tell HR to ensure her exit is smooth. Then he turned back to Ola. You said you weren't in the same class, right? You were actually right. We are not in the same class. But let me tell you, I didn't rise to spite you. I rose in spite of you. He walked past her without another glance. No anger, no gloating, just quiet certainty. This house was built with respect. And respect is something you lost the moment you mocked a man in uniform. He walked away. Ifechi gently helped Ola to her feet. Please, you're still my friend, but you have to leave now. The world moved on. One evening, Ola sat alone in her one-room apartment in Surulere. Her wig was on her table, her makeup bag unopened. Just her and her reflection. She stood in front of the mirror, long silence, then softly. Was it pride or pain? She didn't know anymore. All she saw was the girl who once had everything: beauty, brains, ambition, and lost it all because she didn't know how to carry grace. She looked at herself and whispered, "You had someone who believed in you." She picked up her phone, scrolled to his contact, paused, then dropped it. Some bridges don't burn. They dissolve quietly, in silence, in choices, in mirrors. It's been a year since her disgraceful exit from Obaku Group. The video of her ranting about the company was everywhere. Memes, blog posts, WhatsApp broadcasts. People recognized her not for her CV anymore, but for her scandal. She applied to dozens of companies, but most of them ignored her. Others replied with stiff, "We regret to inform you" messages. Once she overheard someone whisper, "That's the girl that insulted her boss online." She sent Chidi the messages, many, long paragraph, pleading, explaining, begging for just a response. He never replied. Not because he hadn't seen them, but because forgiveness doesn't always come with friendship. And not all stories get a sequel. Sometimes you just have to face your reflection and learn. The end. My summer story lovers. You see this life, it has a funny way of turning tables when you least expect. Today, you're mocking someone in uniform. Tomorrow, you're the one begging to be noticed. This story of Ola and Chidi is not just gist. It's a mirror, a lesson. This story teaches that you should never underestimate anybody because of how they look today. People rise, seasons change, and sometimes the person you stepped on while climbing may be the one signing your check tomorrow. But let me ask you this. Should Chidi have forgiven her? Or was he right to walk away with quiet dignity? And what about Ola? Was she truly ever in love, or was it all ambition from day one? Some people will say, Kama is too harsh. Others will say she got exactly what she deserved. But you, yes, you watching and listening, what do you think? Was Ifechi a good friend or an opportunist? Was Ola really wrong in leaving Chidi for greener pastures? Please share your thoughts in the comment section. And please, if you enjoyed this story, don't stay silent. Click like, hit subscribe, and drop a comment so this story can reach more people. Because sometimes one video can teach what 100 books cannot. Till next time, stay humble and shine your eye. You never know if the person wearing the uniform is your destiny helper in disguise. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.